If you have a chance to talk your 15Y/O self, what would you say? Story 1. That girl you have a crush on. The one you've always had your eye on. Relax, bud. You'll lose contact after school for 10 years, and then you'll be set up on a blind date, and a couple years later, you're going to be her husband. It's gonna be great. Edit. Thanks for the upvotes. Yeah, it's just humbling most of the time and weird, but cool weird. You folks have a good 2024. Story 2. Hey dummy, I know you think tall men are hot, but they're not for you. There is something about a man who is over 6 feet tall that circumvents your critical thinking and ability to judge character for a good 6 months. So you will waste a lot of time with boring losers, absolutely convinced they are so smart and funny and nice, and then you'll wake up one day and realize, nope, no they're not. None of those things. They're just tall as hell. Trust me, short kings only, unless they are musicians. Musicians are also not for you. Also, I know you think you're fat, but you're a skinny bitch with huge boobs, so stop whining and do not go on a diet for the love of God. Oh, also, get yourself along to a psychiatrist ASAP because the sooner you get diagnosed and medicated, the better. You are absolutely riddled with ADHD, babe. Riddled. Story 3. You're about to receive a large sum of money from that accident when you were 7. Don't tell your friends. They will try to use you and then leave you when you listen to your parents and decide to be smart with it. It will cause you years of trust and self-worth issues that you will try to bury, unsuccessfully. Make sure that you are this location at this time. You meet her there and you have 2 wonderful kids together. She doesn't give a shit how much money you have and will make your life instantly and forever better. It was one of the few things I got right, so don't fuck it up. Also, yes, invest like Dad tells you to. Also, our feet forever smell, just wash and invest in amens. Story 4. I'd say you have a long battle in front of you, and you better get ready for it. I say battle, because that's exactly what it will be. You will wake up in the morning and fight from the moment you wake up, until the moment you go to sleep, and sometimes in your sleep as well, and you'll just have to deal with it. You're going to face problems that seem like they have no solution. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But whatever you do, don't give up the will to fight and keep going. Keep trying to find solutions and move forward at any cost. Be careful too. There are those who want nothing more than to see you fail. Oftentimes, those closest to you are the worst perpetrators of this. Whether they know they do it or not, people will drag you down, and you have to be careful of who you allow to be in your presence and who is worth sacrificing your time for. Because in the end, that's all we're really doing, is fighting for more time. And if you waste it doing things you don't enjoy or need to do, you'll end up with a wasted life. Story 5. It's not your fault, and you never stood a chance. You are being raised by narcissistic idiots for whom you will never be good enough. Grieve the parents you deserve but never had and never will have. Then work on being good enough for yourself. You deserve to live. You deserve to love and be loved just the way you are. Don't change a thing for anybody. There's nothing wrong with you. Also, you're autistic and have ADHD. Your brain is wonderful and works in unique ways. You're not broken. I know it feels dark and lonely right now, and that's because it is. You do whatever you need to do to survive and don't feel guilty about any of it. You will survive, and you will get out and you will find people who are truly good and will truly care about you and stand by you. Fuck everybody else. It's not selfish to protect yourself or to be angry. It's not selfish to want to live and live on your terms and by your values. Fuck everyone who doesn't get it. They don't matter. Be brave. Stay true to yourself. You will build the life you want, that you dream of. But please be kind to yourself while you do it. Right now, you have to be your own friend. You are beautiful, you are lovable, and you are worth it, all of it. You are your worst enemy or your biggest ally. Choose to be your ally every day. Story 6. Seek the counsel of your parents. They don't give you a lot of advice because they assume, correctly, that you will just reject it because they are your parents. For better or worse, they are the people in this world who are the most like you and have already had a lot of experience with what you are struggling with now. They have a unique perspective that is particularly helpful for you. Story 7. Gosh, please stop. You're such a people pleaser. It's annoying. Be yourself. I know why you're bullied. Yeah, I don't think it'd be a good idea. I think I would screw myself up even more. Or maybe I'd make everything better for myself. But knowing me back then, it would be worse. Story 8. Lauren turns out to be a rapist. Yes, you were coerced. And no, it was not all in your head. Brush your teeth. Stop being mean to teachers because you're going to become one. You're not ugly. It's just your high school. You're actually not fat. But at least if you're going to get that deep into your eating disorder, get some vitamins so your hair falls out a little less. And when school closes in March 2020, for reasons you will not believe, make sure you take your ceramics project home so you can finish it before it dries out. BTW, you're transgender. 3 by. Story 9. I'd tell him not to waste time with any of the girls he would date for the next 15 years and where to meet his future wife earlier than I did. I'd tell him to do more for himself than certain other people and to think about his career more. I'd also tell him not to spend so much time and money on cars, but which cars to seek out that he would be happy with keeping later on. I'd tell him to seek help for a few mental issues he had. I'd tell him to stop doing so many sketchy things because one day he'll have 3 wonderful kids, be married to the coolest woman alive, and they'd have an amazing life, but that he would regret a lot of his legal past and losing a lot of people in his life. I'd tell him that he'll have to start dieting and not let his workout die when the marriage/children/career stresses are all happening at once. I'd also, of course, give him some investment tips, but not enough to make him very wealthy. Just enough to not work multiple jobs for so long. Story 10. Oh yeah, and don't waste your time on your first husband. He turns out to be in a hole who abandoned you, your son, and then has another family. He does the exact same thing too, but you win BC. He ends up completely alone. You end up with the family you always wanted. Don't make your parents' mistakes and take the scholarship for music instead of medicine. BC being a nurse literally sucks the life out of you. And don't get married for the free trip to Europe. It's so not worth it, LOL. Story 11. Let it happen. Doesn't matter what, just let happen. The embarrassment won't kill you. Go through with it. Let it happen. The anxiety will always be there. Just let it happen. You'll be through it anyways. It comes and goes. Just let yourself be vulnerable. It's not going to kill you. And people don't think you're that weird either. Just let it happen. You'll see what I mean. Stop closing your doors to everything. You missed so many chances, so many experiences because you didn't allow things to happen. You didn't allow yourself to go out. You didn't allow yourself to experiment. You didn't allow yourself to just be you. Who cares if you're an amalgamation of 7 different personalities? You know who else has those exact 7 different personalities? Absolutely no one. You're the only one. You're you. You're a French onion soup. You're bitter and harsh right now. You've been in the flame for so long you've broken down. You've used alcohol to scrape that pan, cried until you drowned yourself in tears. Before you even realized it, you've made yourself a soup. You probably think, but anyone can throw onions and stock in a pot and call it a day. But it's not that. That won't be same. It's what you do along the way that makes the difference. So get out there, do things just for the hell of it. You don't need a reason or motive. You might think doing silly things is stupid right now, but you're gonna realize later on, you just had to be there. That's where the fun is at. It doesn't need to be big. Just going to the movies once in a while is enough. Hanging out is okay too. Playing video games is fine. Shopping seems pointless until someone buys some silly thing you thought was cool and now you want it. These things happen because people allowed themselves to go out there without motive, without reason. Just a simple, why not, was enough for them. Apply this to your way of living. See yourself as a you rather than a me. Your life will improve drastically. The friendships and relationships will become stronger. Experience as much as you can be an interesting person too. Story 12. When I was 15, I was heartbroken over what I thought was my first love. That is the biggest thing I remember about being 15. Several years later, when we were in our early 20s, he was murdered, and it is still a cold case to this day. I can only imagine it had to do with drugs, or maybe he slept with someone's girl. So, I would tell myself, get over him. He isn't even going to be here much longer. He took advantage of you, and he would only lead you to bad things. You can and will do better. Story 13. Don't go into teaching. Nobody is on your side and some are out to get you. It's not worth the stress and low pay. When you get married, never lose focus on your spouse. Even if you're working extra to get her money for her hobbies, she'd rather have you. Buy a house after 2009 tenths and before 2019. I was just out of college in 2010. Actually, forgive yourself. You're going to fuck up sometimes, and sometimes it'll be a big fuck up. Don't just try to push the lingering thoughts aside. Forgive. Story 14. You're gay, and you should get tested for ADHD. Go out with that girl who keeps hinting she likes you. Your parents' work ethic isn't normal or healthy, and you should try not to internalize it. It's not normal to be productive 100% of the time. Don't make fun of your friends and pile on when they make self-effacing jokes. They're secretly all very insecure, and you're all constantly validating each other's insecurities. Marijuana is actually not evil, and is in fact fine. But when a guy named Dan gives you an edible, do not eat the whole thing. Stick to like 1/4. Also, don't let your friend date Dan. Be nicer to your sister. Don't do unpaid internships. Story 15. You won't have friends till after high school. Also, the people who are your friends aside from close friend aren't. One is a druggie who goes off the fucking rails and the others are your bullies. Stop trying to befriend your bullies. Your mental health with thank you. Also, don't try and grow up and become adult and shit. Stay innocent for as long as you can. Also, when it comes around, do download TikTok because I promise you, your real friends will come through. 'Cause we be changing time, RN. The timelines are changing. Remember Megatron is Galva. Story 16, put your money in Bitcoin. Stop caring so much about the Jets. That last playoff appearance 2 years ago is still our most recent appearance. There's going to be a girl that likes you back in a few months. Do not make out with her best friend during your senior year. Thiago Silva joins Chelsea and wins his first Champions League, and it's as every bit amazing as it sounds. Stop being a fucking hypocritical little bitch. Your classmates/teammates are not out to get you. Story 17. It's going to be rough for a long time. It still is, and I'm 28. You are so talented and loved. I know it's a struggle just to keep existing, even though on the surface you aren't tied to forced economics. Even though you also don't have much financially right now, you could very well soon, but that wouldn't change the struggle you have. I know how much friendship is so sacred to you. But to be honest, the F-Dans don't really have it. I love you, and you absolutely deserve it. Oh, and there's going to come a time when you are semi-homeless with 800 credit score if our future remains the same as the one I originally lived. You will know and feel true love on a transcendental experience, and that will also give you energy because, well, I developed sleeping quality issues from the malevolence and one prescription drug that initially allowed you to get deep sleep to the point where you are a bit groggy before and a bit after, and still kind of are. Also, you still remember even those pre-1-year-old memories, and you ghost wrote more lyrics. Remember when you synchronized a variety of old songs onto certain dates, including mostly 2009, and making the channels named after Vivo? But before Vivo actually existed on December 8th, 2009, yet many Vivo channels were certifiably uploaded months, etc. before Vivo. But with the name Vivo? Yeah, it's been a trip. Story 18. I'm assuming I don't get to prepare or know the journey is coming, so I have to work with the information I have in my head. Go to college, but wait until you have a better idea of what you want to do, or you'll have a useless degree and be stuck repaying it while reaping no reward. Live on campus or you're going to miss out on so much. Your anxiety will be fine. Stop being a perfectionist. Nothing is perfect, and you will have to make compromises in everything you do. That includes school, work, relationships, purchases, places you might want to live. Perfect doesn't exist. Find something that's good and you can comfortably live with. Show love to your partner by being more empathetic. Show gratitude for the way she treats you. This is the luckiest thing that will ever happen to you. If you don't try harder to be there for her, and if you don't work on yourself, you are going to lose her, and trust me, you definitely don't want that. It will be the worst thing that has ever happened to you up until you are me. Address your anxiety and your temper now. Both will fuck you in ways you can't even begin to comprehend. Anxiety will cost you opportunities. Anger will cost you nearly everything else. The psychedelics are a lot of fun. Try the mushrooms that one time and the DMT the other, but you don't need to do it more than once. You're going to have a profound, life-changing experience the first time you try each, but you'll never get that a second time. Stay away from weed. You're going to use it as a crutch, and it makes you okay with things that are not good enough. Stay away from alcohol, it's also going to be a crutch. There are other fun drugs, but they add no value to your life, and you will know people who die from them. Buy Bitcoin as much as you can. It is going to peak around $65K, then sell. Story 19. For the love of God, don't slack off. If you want to make video games or do anything interesting, you gotta study math and get into university. If you slack off, you'll spend 10 years of your life working alongside absolute morons, doing work that you hate and making shit money from it. Nobody really explained that to me when I was that age. My parents just scoffed at the idea when I said I wanted to make video games rather than give me any constructive guidance. I was never given a reason to care about school. In fact, school made me hate the idea of a desk job, and I wanted to go into trades because I felt like I could get away with being lazy, and then I'd go home and play more video games. That lack of perspective fucked my life up for 10 years. If I hadn't won the lottery of lotteries and met my now wife, I might still have been stuck where I was and hating my life. Story 21. You do have ADHD. Ask your parents to get you some meds now so that college won't be as brutal as it could be. You do have ADHD. Ask your parents to get you some meds now so that college won't be as brutal as it could be. Me could have prevented this. I might be a lot lighter and further along. I'm still happy with life, but this would have made life simpler. Story 22. Shit may not necessarily get better, but you will get better at handling it. You are far more capable than you think you are. Things will continue to break you, but not in any way that is absolute. You will put yourself back together countless times. You will cry yourself to sleep. You will get angry at people who refuse to change. But by God, kid, you will learn how to get back up. You don't have to grow a thicker skin to protect yourself from the BS in the world. Feeling the hurt means you're still human, that you're still you. And that is no bad thing to be. Story 23. I know the world looks bleak. You just became an orphan and soon you'll be homeless too. Those friends you call your brothers are not your allies. That girl you love only loves the idea of being in love and not you. Finish school. And although getting an apartment at 18 sounds dope, so you can party and trap those friends that are definitely not your friends, but just go to university so you can make some real money, some legitimate money. Stay out of fights and look into getting into the ring and on mats. Pursue that gaming career and stay away from drugs. The road ahead is rough and you were dealt a shit hand, but the world owes you nothing and you have to get it out the mud for yourself. Do not rely on anyone. You'll learn that you can shape this reality to your own liking and everything always works itself out in time. Don't give up. Story 24. Don't settle for being friends just with the people who will have you, or who you feel are equally weird and damaged as you. Choose the type of friends you really want and become the kind of person they would want to be friends with. Young people don't want to sit around all the time and talk about their misery and problems. Teenagers don't make good therapists. They want to be friends with people who are energetic and fun. The occasional deep conversation can happen organically, but don't expect them to happen all the time, or even that often. Story 25. He is an abuser, honey. He doesn't give a shit about you. Pay attention in psychology class, learn about narcissists, listen to your friends, and walk the fuck away. Also, school feels like it's a never-ending hellhole. But one day, you won't have to see any of these dickheads ever again. It'll be great. P.S. Travel a lot and move out when you go to university. It'll cost more, but you'll have your freedom. P.P.S. Your mother is not your friend. The way she treats you and her spiteful words are a reflection of herself, not you. You didn't do anything wrong. You're not obligated to keep her or anyone else in your life just because she's family. Cut her out and thrive, my love. P.P.P.S. You're so much stronger than you give yourself credit for. You'll get through it all. School, bullies, abusers, health problems, and I'm so proud of you for that. You're a badass.